Hey, everybody. I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. Stephanie. Hey, good morning, Stephanie. Glad to see you here. And today I'm going to kick this show off by talking about conspiracy theories. I've kind of been talking about that in my episodes throughout the week. And Lake, my buddy, how's it going, Lake? Good morning. Glad you could make it. But I've had this notion about these conspiracy theories that some of these conspiracy theories that we have, and we have conspiracy theories across a wide range of different subjects, and some of them seem to be promoted, right? Almost promoted, like you see it all over the place. Flat Earth is a good example. That you hear about flat Earth all over the place. And others are censored. They're tamped down. I've actually had videos completely banned by YouTube because I broached a certain subject. So my question is why? Why aren't they, if they're so concerned with the truth, why aren't they censoring all conspiracy theories? Why is it only certain conspiracy theories that are censored and other ones that seem to be promoted? So that is my question that I have. The overall broader question I have about this whole conspiracy theory stuff concerning the government and the media and the bankers, whatever, the central bank that controls it all. So it really leads me to believe. Yeah, hey, Vintage. Good evening to you, buddy. Gardner Earth guy. Yeah, the truth is paid for. Absolutely. But yeah, it leads me to believe that they're controlling these conspiracy theories. I have a conspiracy theory about conspiracy theories. They're controlling these conspiracy theories and propping up some of them and tamping down others, right? They're silencing some and giving others a megaphone. And by jumbling all of them together in a big conspiracy theory pot and then sinking some down to the bottom of that pot and letting others rise, it makes it all seem like one big, pile of goofballs, crazy nutcases who are asking these questions, okay, and theorizing about this stuff that is hidden from us. Now, some of this stuff is hidden. To deny that the government hides stuff from us is just you're just living on another planet. You're not even on planet Earth as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that is just obvious truth. They hide shit from us. So I don't think that can even be debated. Yeah, Vintage. I think so. That's part of my point there. If you're being censored, I think you're getting close to the mark there, right? And I think you're touching on a sensitive topic that they really want to remain hidden. And the medicine that they handed out in 2020 and they're still poking people with it today. People are still lining up for that shit as from what I understand. That if you talk about that in any great detail or they'll censor you. If you talk about the weather, the extended weather, climate, they'll censor you. This kind of stuff. So why, Brad? Good morning, Brad. Glad you can make it, buddy. Why are these topics censored? Okay, they want to tell us with the thing that it's for public safety, right? For public health. You're gonna hurt people if you spread this misinformation and they don't get their medicine. Now, those same people that won't get their medicine, these government officials and stuff will send them over to war to catch bullets, right? And get blown up by IEDs, lose legs, lose their lives, lose everything. Okay. In the name to protect democracy for some reason. I mean, there's no threat to America whatsoever, but they'll send them over there to die in a war. But you can't question the official narrative about a medicine, eh, because they don't want those people that you might you know get those people hurt or whatever. It's just completely backwards. They'll do one thing. They will send you over to die, but they don't want you listening to anything that might hurt you. And they get to claim that, we're doing this for the public good. That's why we're censoring these people. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're hiding this information for your own good. That's why we're sending you off to die in a war for your own good. You know what I mean? All this shit. When you think about the things together, they just do not make sense. Nothing makes sense. It's it's smoke and mirrors. And I think it's confusing by design. They're trying to confuse people. Yeah, hot topic for people's minds. Yeah. Good morning, LJ. Evening to vintage. Yeah. He's getting ready for bed over there, down there. But if the polls flip, then vintage is going to be up here, right? And now how it goes. Vintage is going to be up here, and we're going to be down there. Good point, Stephanie. We're censored for being anti-woke, but the other side, or whatever, however you want to put that, the other side, those lunatics can say whatever they want, and they won't censor them, holding up a bloody head or firebombing Teslas and all this stuff. They don't censor any of that stuff. They can do anything they want, and the media celebrates it. But if you question that side, you're censored. You're a right-wing lunatic. You're a Nazi. You're a bigot, racist. All this stuff. They've got a book of names they call you and reasons you should be censored. Cosmos 482? No, I've never heard of it. Vintage. Tracking. And since you said tracking, I take it that that's an asteroid or something. I did finish watching Dimming. Vintage. Yeah, and that's another thing I'd want to talk about is this whole thing because I read recently that Antarctica has grown by quite a bit. It's freezing up again. Over the last year, it got, I don't know how much bigger, I forget the number, but it actually it stopped receding, stopped melting, and now it's growing again. It's got more ice. And I read another article that was unrelated about a scientific study that said that we're destined for another ice age in about 11,000 years, but scientists believe now that we're speeding up that the ice age is going to come quicker. Okay. So my question is, and then I watched the documentary, The Dimming, where they're dimming the sun with all these chemtrails and shit. They're making the planet colder. And now it just makes me think that they have sped up the coming ice age with all this warming hysteria, and we got to cool everything down and all this shit. So they're just speeding up the ice age. The ice age coming is going to come earlier, and the sudden reversal of Antarctica to start growing back that fast in 1 year is, and it might be an anomaly. Maybe that's just a 1 year thing. Maybe it'll start receding again next year. I don't know, but it speaks to a weird thing about that global cooling now. Now, I just wonder if they're going to start saying this stuff about how we caused the globe to cool down when they're spreading shit in the sky and doing all this stuff, burying trees under the ground and doing all this weird shit. And it's going to be our fault when the globe starts cooling down, right? Watch and see. It'll be our fault. Yeah, they'll blame it on us. They'll have to raise our taxes and all this shit. We got to warm up the planet. The planet's cooling off too fast and all this. So, and no matter what happens, it's our fault, and we're going to have to pay more taxes and, silence the people who are dissenting and asking questions about it. Oh, that's a Soviet satellite, the Cosmos 482. I heard about that. It's supposed to be uh, coming in at some point. No, I haven't been tracking it. I heard about a Soviet satellite that was supposed to be coming back. I didn't know the name. Oh, okay. All right. So it's gonna be returning to Earth. Hopefully it lands in my backyard. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. Give me some free tech. So I haven't heard that it landed anywhere. That not saying that I'm busy at work a lot and I don't have enough time to keep up with a lot of stuff, but I have not heard that it landed, that it came back yet. Civil defense prepping. No, I haven't seen the latest report on it. I just civil defense prepping about the Earth shift crust displacement. No, I haven't been keeping up with it uh, as a certain thing. I see stuff on it and I'll read it if I run across it, but no, I haven't heard the latest on it. But I know that I did look it up and look at the satellite image and how they tracked the pole moving around and how it's over the last decades, how the movement has sped up a lot. The pole is moving a lot faster than it has in past decades over the last 10 years. Earth Gardener, yeah, sell it on eBay. Yeah, yeah, sell that satellite on eBay. Yeah, that'd be the way to go. All right, LJ. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it either. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Yeah, but I did hear that satellite was coming in. But in the entire planet, the odds are that it's going to land in the ocean, but there's no telling. But yeah, the pole shift, that's another major thing that doesn't get talked about, and I wonder why there's not more media attention on this. Why isn't that mainstream news? Hey, our poles are moving quite a bit now. Why don't you see the talking heads on MSNBC and that talking about this stuff? Hey, this could create a problem in the near future if this thing, there's they found evidence of many of these pole flips in the past. It's happened, many times in the past, and now our poles all of a sudden are start doing this weird stuff. So we could have a pole flip, you know. But if they did report it, they do it like they have other catastrophes in the past. Uh, it'd be fear mongering, and there's just no way that they can raise taxes to stop the pole shift and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's not useful to them, so they don't report it. So they don't talk about it. If it was somehow that they could use it to manipulate people, then when they do figure that out, how to do that, manipulate people with that information, then they'll share it. Yeah, that's one of the things that I wonder about is the EMP, the solar EMP, like an EMP we get from the sun that would shut down everything, and wouldn't. I don't know. There's a possibility that it wouldn't create widespread catastrophic casualties to life. It would just shut down electronics. Now that would be a cool post-apocalyptic scenario. Yeah. Yeah, vintage. That's a panic subject. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the Gardner Earth guy, maybe they people would stop paying taxes during a pole shift. Yeah. Yeah, if everybody's trying to survive, then, uh, they're not going to work, paying their taxes, being good robots. And speaking of robots, I thought about that. The rich, we're basically their androids. We're meat robots to them, right? We shine their shoes, we clean their dishes, we cook their food, we do all this stuff that we want an android, a robot like Rosie to do, clean the house and all that stuff. Rosie from the Jetsons. They already have that. It's just their robots are organic. They've had that forever. They've had that since the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, probably since the Mesopotamians and all that. They've had that this entire time. So, and that's part of the thing that if they get rid of us, they have to replace us with these synthetic androids, right? They got to have somebody to do all that shit for them because they can't do it. They can't do stuff. All they can do is, manipulate things. They can't do things themselves. They need to manipulate it through us. They need us to do the manipulation. They need us to build the stuff, or there's nothing to sell. They need us you know, to buy the things, or there's nothing to build. So all this shit. Metal Gear Punisher. What up, dude? Glad to see you here, man. Oh yeah, Garden Earth guy. Yeah, the we all knew about Skynet and all that shit before we even had the internet. And I still about that stuff with the AI and everything, I just can't get myself to believe that it would have real consciousness like humans do, or even like a lion or a goat or whatever, not that kind of consciousness, not even that much self-awareness. I think that really good programmers one day will be able to um get it to simulate that consciousness, but it won't be a real alive living thing. It won't be aware in the way that a goat is aware. But I think it'll be a very good puppet at one time, a very good automaton that can trick people into thinking it has consciousness. And maybe even for all intents and purposes in the real world, it will have consciousness, by its the results of its actions and what it does and everything. It might as well have consciousness. But down on a metaphysical level, it can't. There's just no way. It's not organic life. It's a synthetic thing. It's an inanimate object. So I just don't think so. I don't think that'll happen. But that's my opinion on the thing. But that doesn't matter if a 700-pound robot's coming at you. It doesn't matter if it's conscious or not. The thing is still gonna come after your ass. Yeah, LJ, I don't know. I wouldn't want a robot in the house. No. I just saw a video of they were working on one of those androids in a Chinese factory, and the thing went crazy and started flailing around. Luckily, the people were able to get out of the way in time before it did some real damage. But those things are so strong, that they would just crush your bones accidentally. I don't want anything around me like that, or my family, that can accidentally, just by a misfire in circuitry or something, end life or cause damage. I don't want anything around me like that. More to the point, I don't want it around my family. So no, I will never have any of that shit in the house. A Roomba is about as far as I'll go with that shit. A Roomba can't really hurt you. Yeah, vintage. That's gonna be a job for a while, to service the droids. That's just gonna be a job. It's gonna be a pretty good job in the beginning for a while until they make droids that can service droids, which is, you know, I mean, that's gonna happen. They're gonna if you think about it and you look at these, what is it, Ultima or whatever, that Tesla robot, if you look at that thing, and that is the earliest stage. That is just the infancy stage of this thing. In another 20, 30 years, that thing is gonna be, just insane because the faster technology, increases, the further technology advances, the faster it advances, you know what I mean? And that's why we're seeing so much rapid advancement now. Yeah. Yeah, taxes, that's all it's about. And taxes are just it's just a way to steal from the population. They're unnecessary. They don't force taxes. Now, if you want to tax, products, sales tax and stuff like that, okay, then I can choose to make my own or to buy a secondhand option from someone else or something. I can choose and I can opt into that tax. The forced taxes are the ones I have a problem with. They just take it out of my paycheck. They just take it before, or you go to jail if you don't pay, or you lose your land, which is probably the worst one, in my opinion. I don't know. Income tax is really bad. So I don't know. Income tax and land taxes, those two are abominable. They're perversions of the Constitution, and I just think they're anti-human, anti-freedom. I don't that we if we could do anything, that would be the first thing I would do is to get rid of income and land tax. Yeah, Metal Gear. I don't trust any smart appliances. I don't trust anything. Now, use and make use of and trust are two different things. Now, I'll make use of a cell phone and technology and stuff. Yeah, but trust it? No. Hell no. Hell no. And that's what I don't trust the all these OnStar and computer chips and control and all this stuff they're putting in cars. If you have OnStar that's already built into your car, hardwired onto it, and you can opt in and engage it and stuff, whether you opt into it or not, it can be remotely tracked. They can track you. They can find out where you are. I don't like that. Whether I'm going to be, turn into Bonnie and Clyde one day or not, I don't care. I don't want them tracking me. It doesn't matter. They don't have the right. They're not better than me. I'm not running around tracking them. Okay. I don't track people. I'm a normal human being. Normal human beings shouldn't track each other and shit. So yeah, they're not better than me. They're not it, and that's what really gets me about this whole thing is these big corporations and these governments and these politicians. They literally think they're better than us. They want to control us like we're sheep or cattle or something. And I've got news for them. I'm not a damn sheep. I'm not a damn cow. I'm not gonna play to their tune and do all this bullshit. And I'm gonna ask questions. And a lot of because they're liars and they're thieves and they hide shit from me, a lot of my suppositions, my guesses might be wrong. But that's just because they won't tell me the damn truth. And I gotta guess. I gotta try to figure shit out for myself if I want to know the truth. And anybody interested in the truth has to look, has to, that's what a conspiracy theorist is. It's someone who just wants to know the truth and has to dig for themselves because the government won't tell us. The media lies to us. And that's bottom dollar, but that's point blank. That's what it is. That's where we are. Rusty Doob, what's going on, buddy? Zero shot reinforced learning context or AI, artificial intelligence, quantum computing. Oh boy. Yeah, Brad, that's one thing. Once that artificial intelligence merges with quantum computing, I'm actually surprised that artificial intelligence has has come along so far, and quantum computing is lagging behind right now. I kind of thought it would be the other way around, that we'd have quantum computers before artificial intelligence has reached this point. But that was just, the way I felt back then a few years ago. But once those two things merge, and that's what I was talking about before, does it matter if it's conscious on a metaphysical level, when if it's working with quantum computing, you can't tell the difference, you know what I mean? It might as well be a live organic thing, because it can act like one and interact with the world like one. So it's really not going to make any difference. You won't be able to tell the difference. Gardener, Earth guy. Yeah. Yeah, the tax with the uh, different flag on it. Yeah, that's another thing. We're taxed everywhere we go, every way. We gotta pay taxes on our vehicle to keep it registered so we can drive it, and all this other shit. All this shit should be illegal. I understand that they need to be able to track a vehicle and look at a vehicle and make sure it's not stolen. I get that. Okay. If you see um things for, just to keep people safe, there's a certain amount of safety and freedom. You got to give up some freedom for safety. I get it, but I think it's overshot. I think we've given up way too much freedom, and the safety is not it's not a balance anymore. We're not It's uneven. We're giving up too much freedom at this point. Yeah. Oh yeah, Stephanie. Yeah. They're not going to be these things aren't going to be made to last forever, and with interchangeable parts and all that stuff. They're going to be made in a way that you have to buy a new one. Then that is going to open up a whole new insurance market, right? Because you're going to want to insure your Android, so there's going to be all kinds of bullshit scams and robbery from these huge insurance companies, gouging people and all this stuff. That it's going to change stuff in so many different ways, and they're going to rob us in so many different ways with these androids. Yeah, they're going to be selling all kinds of crap, and then all of these. It's going to be a monthly subscription to. I guarantee you this. I would bet everything on it. That It's going to be you're going to need a monthly subscription to keep the thing active, right? It's just going to be a pile of junk, a wall hanging or something, if you don't pay your monthly subscription. I guarantee you that. Uh, then you get your updates and all that stuff, just like a phone. It'll get updates through the internet and all that, and then when you need to get it fixed or something, then they're gonna have Android rental agencies to rent you an Android, and you're gonna want to get insurance on that one, or you're gonna have to buy that one. It's gonna be a whole thing. Watch that shit. All that stuff is coming down the pike. Yeah, that's the thing, LJ, about the cars that can be controlled and crashed into something. Yeah, yeah, all this stuff with your car being, and especially with that Starlink stuff is really great, especially if you're out in a rural community and you want high speed internet and stuff. But if your car can constantly be connected to the internet, okay? And they don't even have to tell you this. They don't have to tell you this, but your car can connect to the internet without your knowledge. You sign some, 100-page user agreement when you bought the car. There's no telling what's all in that shit. And you're going to pay a lawyer $3,000 to read through it before you buy your car, and add an extra fee on top of that. So yeah, this thing, they can just connect to the internet anytime to Starlink now and be controlled through that. Yeah. So And then, I mean, I'm not down on Elon Musk or anything, but he does have a lot of contracts with the government. I mean, it would not surprise me if the government uh, paid him to connect anything they want, through Starlink to the internet, and then they can just control your shit without your knowledge at any time. Yeah, Rusty, me neither. I'm not with that stuff. I'm not even that self-driving the way I see it. If your vehicle has OnStar and cruise control and electronic locks and stuff, well, they can that's all they need. They can see where you are, shut your car down, hit the brakes, let off the gas, lock your doors, and then you're just going to either break your window to get out or sit there and wait on the authorities. And that's not bad if you're if they're trying to catch a serial killer or something. But if it's just what if it's just some mistaken identity, which happens all the time, and now you're going to be waiting there for 3 hours by the side of the road while the authorities show up to verify that you're not the one they're looking for. That kind of shit's going to suck, I'm telling you. A field-based interpretation of light, matter, and resonant logic. Yeah, like I've never heard of that. That's one I'm gonna have to look up. Yeah, LJ, that's just about right. Everything they say, think the opposite. Yeah, Stephanie, that insurance. I mean, that is the biggest, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest. How do I want to say it? Uh, Theft. You know, making insurance mandatory, and then making it so a few large insurance companies can monopolize the whole thing, right, and just jack up the rates whenever they want. And that's another thing about capitalism. People want to talk shit about capitalism, but this isn't capitalism. Capitalism isn't about monopolies and control. Capitalism is about competition and low prices. So without any competition, these insurance companies just rake us over the coals. They just steal from us, rob us. And by law, they're allowed to. We have to have insurance, and you only have two or three companies to choose from. And you think those billionaires aren't talking to each other? Hey, dude, I need a new, I want to buy France next year, so let's raise our rates. I hooked you up last year. You got to hook me up this year. Okay, well, so all of them raise their rates together. You know, it, I despise insurance companies. I despise insurance. Not that it's not helpful sometimes, but it's highway robbery, and it's legal because they're billionaires and they can lobby, our government to make it legal. That's basically what it is. Yeah, LJ, robots will be allowed to hurt people just to force the insurance. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And that there's gonna be all kinds of weird crap that happens that we can't even think about right now. Everything that we imagine in the future, it's 100 times worse in some ways, and then in some ways, it's not as bad as we thought it would be. So, yeah, there's gonna be stuff that happens that we just couldn't even imagine, and it's gonna be really bad in a lot of ways that we didn't even think about. Yeah, Gardner Earth Guy 2010 Tacoma base model 5-speed manual, roll up windows. You damn right. That's that's the ticket right there. No, they don't need to connect to the internet. Uh we don't need our cars to tell us where to go and where we are and all this GPS shit wired right into our vehicles. We don't need any of that shit. But people have been living just fine. That's one thing. Yeah, another thing with the convenience, right? Yeah, GPS is convenient. You don't have to bust out a big old road map and stuff. That's nice. But now you can be tracked anywhere you go through your phone or your car or whatever. You know what I mean? I just don't like that shit. And again, it's not because I'm, doing anything dastardly or I'm, committing federal crimes or anything like that. I just don't like the idea of it. They don't have the right to track me, period. And I don't like anybody thinking they have power over me or thinking that they're uh, getting over on me by being smarter than me by hiding shit. You know what I'm saying? That just rubs me the wrong way. And that's another thing. Apple just settled a big lawsuit, some multi-million dollar lawsuit, because it was proven that they were recording conversations from their subscribers, from their iPhone users. So they just had to settle and pay out millions upon millions to their people. Which they've got so many people that own iPhones that it's probably, these people are probably going to get $30 each or something, but still, it's just pointing the fact is that they were recording people's conversations without telling them. And now do you think they quit that, or do you think they just added a line on page 103 of their user license agreement that says that, yeah, it's okay, you can record my conversations? I don't know. I didn't read page 103 of their user license agreement, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, Metal Gear, exactly. Excessive use of technology will enslave mankind. Yeah, that should be a real warning on damn near everything. Yeah, Stephanie, you're right. There's apps on your phone that control the car. I know I haven't bought a new car, but I suppose that you can download an app. Like if you buy a new Mercedes, you can download the Mercedes app. I suppose that makes sense. I never thought about it until Stephanie just mentioned it, but that makes sense. And the app will tell you everything about your car. Yeah, LJ, you damn right. It was a lot simpler, life was before all this tech and shit, and that's tech was supposed to make our lives easier, less complicated, less stressful, and it's the opposite, the exact opposite. All this technology has made things more stressful, more complicated, right? Why? We're supposed to be living, like the Jetsons. Instead, I don't know, we're living kind of like halfway between the Jetsons and 1984. We've got all kinds of technology and stuff, but it, it- the and that's one thing that bothers me is that the government and these corporations and stuff, they just won't come out and say, we're doing this. We're recording your conversations. We're tracking you on GPS. We got GPS in your car now. We're tracking your ass. Deal with it. They won't do that. Why? Because they're afraid. They're cowards and they're doing this shit behind closed doors, in the dark, behind the curtain, in the shadows. They're doing this shit covertly, right? To us. And that irritates me too. That pisses me off. I mean, if you're gonna rob me, then come stick a gun in my face. Don't sneak in and, you know, do a bunch of covert shit behind the uh, curtain when I'm not looking. Have the balls to walk up to me and take what I got. Don't, sneak in after I leave and shit. You know what I'm saying? That it just makes me mad. Yeah, Lake. Yeah, send it. Send it through email. I'll read it this afternoon after when I get home from work. Yeah, and that's LJ hit the nail on the head there. Everything that was supposed to make life easier really got designed to be more intrusive. Exactly. Exactly. There's a thin veil of convenience, right? That, oh, this is more convenient for you. This is more. Is it really? You know, is it really? Is is it more convenient to yeah, tap a button instead of get up and change the DVD? What do you burn, like 3 calories swapping the disc in the DVD player, you know? And it's making everybody less healthy, right? Because we do less. And a perfect example of this is that it's human nature. It's the nature of life, right? If you feed a lion, if you go throw a gazelle out in a lion a pride of lions, they'll eat the gazelle, and then they'll go lay down in the shade. They're not gonna go do extra shit, right? And I think that these people understand that about life and humanity because whenever I go to a parking lot, I will just park in the emptiest area of the parking lot and then walk across the parking lot to the whether it's raining or what, I don't care. I'll walk across the parking lot just for the because I don't like, trying to back out and when in the crowded area. But when I do that, I see people driving around and around and around trying to park to the closest spot to the door that they can find so they don't have to burn the extra 25 calories. Well, there's my Rubik's cube. So they don't have to burn the extra 25 calories walking across the parking lot. And that's just human nature. That's the nature of life. We take the easiest way. Lions will do it, goats, whatever. Every mammal or fish or whatever takes the easiest route. And they play on that. They take advantage, they manipulate that, right? So even when it comes to, just sitting on the couch or having to get up and swap a DVD out in the DVD changer, they take advantage of that, and they know we will choose to just sit on the couch because getting up and swapping the DVD, that'll burn 3 calories. It sounds exhausting, you know what I mean? And I'm not picking on people that are lazy like that because everyone's lazy like that, including me. I'll take the easiest way out. And unless I consciously have a reason not to, like with the parking lot thing. Wing Chun? I'm not familiar with that, Brad. What is that? It sounds familiar. Is that a reference from the '80s or something? Yeah, Stephanie, that's absolutely correct. They cannot come up with disclosures fast enough. All the ways they're tracking us and shit now. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, Metal Gear. I tried that stuff. Some of it is really advanced and but a lot of it is right now is choppy AI voices. It's really easy to recognize. Especially once you learn, even in the videos and stuff, once you learn, what to look for, the still images and the videos, they look realistic, but there'll be something in there that you can tag and say, "Okay, that's fake. That's AI generated." Yeah, yeah, Rusty Doob, yeah, exactly. You gotta take your card out, or you gotta take the money out and break the 20, and then you got a pocket full of change at the end of the day. You got like a pound and a half of quarters and nickels and shit in your pocket at the end of the day, or pence or whatever you have over there. uh and the whatever country you're in, you know what I'm saying? And you got a pocket full of change, and it's just inconvenient. So, but now they've got these chips in these debit cards, and that's super convenient. I don't even have to push the debit card in the slot. I just hold it up there, and yeah, it's super convenient. But with every level we take toward convenience, every step we take toward convenience, we lose our anonymity, we lose our freedom, we lose our autonomy. We're becoming more and more like androids ourselves, right? we're tracked and controlled through all this shit. Because if you look at psychology and you know ahead of time what choice a person is going to make, because they're going to take the easiest way out, right? So of course they're not gonna carry cash around and stuff. There are gonna be a few oddballs that do, but most people are gonna choose the debit card, the easiest way. So and they know this and they use it against us. Yeah. Well, all life is, LJ. All life is just lazy. I mean, it's just baked into organic life. I mean, no, you won't see any video of like a giraffe or something being industrious and doing extra shit just to do it. You know what I mean? When they're full and they a full belly full of water and food, they'll lay down. That's just the way it is. Yeah, Metal Gear, yeah, even ATMs, and then they've got the cameras on the ATMs and all that, and oh, okay. Alright, Brad, Wing Chun is a Chinese martial art, okay. Oh, yeah, Stephanie. Yep, again, Stephanie's hitting the nail on the head here with the health industry, the pharmaceutical industry. They don't want us healthy. They don't want us parking at the far end of the parking lot and burning extra calories. They don't want us getting up off the couch and burning extra calories. They don't want us being healthy, right? Because then they lose money. I mean, it's just a point of fact that they make money off of you being sick. You know what I'm saying? It is in their it is against their best interest to heal you long term. They will make less money. Their stockholders will get mad at them if they make you better. It's just, I mean, it's just a fact. And for people not to realize this, for people not to see this just blows my mind. Yeah. They want you to be sick. If not each individual doctor or nurse or whatever, they might care for your health, but the system at large, the boardrooms and the entire system needs you to be sick in order to maintain its growth and its profits and all this stuff. And that goes back to the corporate structure, you know? That's one of the worst things that ever happened is when they structure these corporate, laws and shit. Yeah, they just destroyed damn near everything. Canada, yeah. I forgot there for a second, Rusty. I got you confused with Lone Wolf Prepper. Yeah, for a second there. Yeah, you think more like a computer. I think all of us do to some extent, Brad. All right, LJ. It was good seeing you again, buddy. Glad to have you here. Yeah, Vintage, you're absolutely right. Everyone, in my opinion, should have a stash of cash, however much you can afford to put aside. And from the thing that I've read and I've watched a documentary on it or whatever, you'll want small bills because in the event of a situation, a catastrophic situation or whatever, when cash would be valuable and you would need it, the small bills will be important because a lot of people won't have cash. And if you want to buy something for $5 and all you have is a 20, they won't have any change. So you'll have to give them 20 if you want the thing, right? So keep, small bills, keep some fives and ones and don't keep $100 bills. Don't keep, 500 in hundreds because you'll end up paying $100 for a loaf of bread or $100 for a bag of beans when you could have paid five. So keep them in small bills. It's the same amount of money, but you won't end up getting, robbed. Not saying that the person would rob you on purpose, but by necessity because they've got the thing you want, but they don't have any change because they didn't think ahead like you did. So yeah, keep it in small bills if you do that. It's just my advice. Okay, LJ. Yeah. Well, we don't have much time left anyway. About 10 more minutes now, and I got to go and start getting ready for work as well. But yeah, have a great day, LJ. Thank you for showing up, buddy. You contributed some good thoughts to our discussion here. I love these things, especially when we get on some good topics. These Saturday morning discussions are really cool. Yeah, I'm working. I think I'm might get a day off next week because of the rain. So I don't know. When I work like that, I mean, I need the money. I need to pay my bills and shit. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad when it rains. And then the choice is taken out of my hands, and I got to take a day of rest. So I'm kind of two ways about the rain. I'm upset because I'm losing a day's wages, but again, I feel good because I get to sit down for a bit. And it seems like I haven't heard anybody complaining about the audio, so it seems like this is the way to go as far as my streaming goes. I just need to stick with YouTube here. So that's good. Everybody can hear me all right from what I see. Like I said, it's a negative. I haven't had any complaints, so that's good. Okay, thank you, LJ. I appreciate it. But the entire system and most of them are tied in together, right? If you if you believe that like the healthcare CEOs of these big nationalized healthcare conglomerate corporations aren't talking with the CEOs of the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry and all this stuff, and they're working together, they're working in cahoots, hey, if we put this thing just in conversation, we put this stuff in our Doritos, but it made people's scalp itch. You know what I'm saying? And then the pharmaceutical guy will say, "Hey, we just came up with this thing that cures that. So, we'll kick you a few bucks if you'll put that stuff in there." That kind of shit. If you think that doesn't happen, that those billionaires don't work together to screw us and to make more money, that's um, I don't know what to say for you. You're not even thinking along in reality. If it's smaller, less successful, less rich people work together all the time. You know what I mean? We do it all the time. So why wouldn't rich people do it? Why wouldn't rich people scratch each other's backs and shit in these big corporations and help each other out? So that just Oh, okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Jeff 7, what's going on, buddy? Yeah. Yeah, vintage. That's exactly. But I'm convinced that they work together, and they'll one hand washes the other type of thing, where they're helping each other out to screw over the customer base. And they always choose the option that makes them more money. Like I said with the Walmart thing, they did the math beforehand. Hey, if we put in self-checkout, people are going to steal from us. Well, let's run the projection on that. How much are we going to lose from them stealing from us? And I'll just throw in $1 million a year. Okay, well, how much do we save if we can fire those 150,000 people? Well, yeah, we'll save $2.5 million a year. Okay, so let them steal from us. We're 1.5 million ahead. if we let them steal from us. It comes down to X's and O's like that. They don't care about the humanity aspect of it. They don't care about anything except that bottom line. And when you're doing that, that's not that really that harmful. It's a little scumbaggy, for Walmart to do it. But when you get into the food industry, insurance, health industry, the pharmaceutical industry, now you're talking about harmful decisions. And they're making them for the same reason that Walmart did. But it's actually harming people's health and harming their ability to stay alive with the insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry and stay healthy. And this stuff is just it's just out there plain. It's easy to figure out. It's happening every day, but people want to close their eyes to it a lot of times. Oh, you watching a Bruce Willis movie, Jeff? Yeah, Stephanie, that's exactly what I believe. They're all working in together. Food, medicine, real estate, insurance, transportation, they're all in that shit together. And to pretend that they're not is just pulling the wool over your own eyes, in my opinion. Oh, use shadow logic to ask Grok about it, Lake? Okay. All right, Jeff 7. Jeff 7 recommends Apex, a Bruce Willis movie. But yeah, that whole thing. And then you've got when you get those big corporations working together, working in harmony with each other to screw over the population, and then they're funding political campaigns and stuff. They're lobbying. Lobbying is one of the most evil things ever invented. For a big corporation to lobby, to have a law passed and all this shit, right? And have that much more influence over our government than we do. That means it's not our government anymore. That's, Monsanto's government. That's Pfizer's government. That's, Kellogg's government. That's Microsoft's government. That's not our government. They're not doing what we tell them to do, what we elect them to do, what they said they were going to do to get us to vote for them. They are doing what they're paid to do. Because if they don't, at the very best case scenario, they get cut off. They won't get paid anymore. Worst case scenario is that blackmail material that they have on them will be released, and they'll be ruined for the rest of their lives. Yeah. Patterns in absence. That's what Lake's thing about the shadow logic. Patterns in absence. What's not being talked about. That's very interesting. We're gonna have to talk about that, Lake, once I get the time. Me and Lake are gonna have to have another discussion. All right, everybody. Lake, Jeff, Stephanie, LJ, Vintage, Brad. Who else? Let me get it. Rusty Doob out of Canada. Did I miss anybody? I want to say, Gardner Earth guy. If I missed you, I apologize. I'm trying to get everybody here. Say goodbye to everybody. Metal Gear Punisher. Civil Defense Prepping. All of y'all, I want to thank you for showing up this morning. I know for those of you here in the States with me, it's not a great time at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it's the only time I have really, because I got to go to work. And then after work, I'll be exhausted. This Florida heat is something special. So I'm gonna end it here, and I want to say goodbye to all of y'all, and thank you very much for showing up. Great conversation. I love talking about this stuff, all this conspiracy stuff. So yeah, I had a great time. Y'all really knocked the ball out of the park in the comments today. Really, really thoughtful stuff. So thank you very much. And I'll leave you there with that. As always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.